Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Count down to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll-free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us. This is a long weekend for those of you who are fortunate enough not to have to work on Monday. So it's going to be it'll be a labor of love. Well, no pun intended there, but stick around with me for this hour and we'll talk cars. I'll share information with you like tips for buying a car when you don't have perfect credit. Very interesting information you'll want to hear. And also the most hackable cars on the road today and the 10 most stolen cars on the road today. So lots coming up. Kim will take your calls at 888 Car Clinic. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by PowerFrame Grid Technology. Batteries with PowerFrame technology are stronger, more durable, and keep you going. Look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside and know you're getting true strength on the inside of your next battery. For more information, go to powerframe.com. Also proud to say this segment brought to you in part by O'Reilly Auto Parts. It's O Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. And for a limited time, get double points on over 150 items throughout the store. Appearance items, oil specials, and more. If you're not a member, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today and sign up. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices, every day. Bobby Likis Car Clinic, every Saturday from 10 till noon, starting right now.
Defend your vehicle from harmful elements and restore shine with Armor All canister wipes. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up Armor All canister wipes for $3.99 and earn double points during O Rewards Member Appreciation Month. Easily remove dirt, dust, and grime with Armor All canister wipes. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
From the Car Clinic inbox, Jason in Dallas writes, Bobby, the battery in my 2012 Honda just died. I hear you talking about PowerFrame. Is this a battery you recommend, and where can I get it? Jason, PowerFrame isn't actually a battery brand. PowerFrame is the type of grid technology inside select automotive batteries. Why are grids so important? The positive grid provides the energy necessary to start your car, and corrosion of this grid is the number one cause of battery failure. PowerFrame grids are different because the patented grid pattern is optimized for consistent and superior starting power. The manufacturing method and material composition used to produce PowerFrame grids result in increased durability and corrosion resistance. In fact, they're 66% more durable than other grid designs like book mold or expanded metal. You can find PowerFrame grid technology inside Autocraft Gold and Platinum AGM and CarQuest Silver, Gold, and AGM batteries at your local Advanced Auto Parts and CarQuest stores. For more about PowerFrame grid technology, drive to powerframe.com. You hear me talking about General Tires all the time. Quiet ride, great performance, innovative technology. They're fantastic tires. I know from personal experience. After 100 years in business, they must be doing something right. Well, now's a great time to buy your next set of Generals with a General Tire Making Trails promotion. You can receive up to a $70 prepaid Visa card with a purchase of 4 qualifying General Tires between now and September 11th. Learn more about the Making Trails promotion at generaltire.com/promotions.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Like Shakespeare, we ask the question, what's in a name? Ours is pretty blah. We're Geico, not to be confused with Gecko, a small tree lizard. And no, Geico doesn't have a sister company named Girl Co. So, in the absence of a perfect name, focus group tested for hipness, We offer car insurance at a fair price. In 15 minutes, you could save 15%. Call 1-800-947-AUTO, 1-800-947-AUTO. Our name may not be cool, but saving money always is. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
I tend to put things off. For example, I put off getting a home equity line of credit for a while. Then one day, when I should have been doing my laundry, I went to LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form and got 4 offers back within hours. Then I chose the line of credit that was right for me. Who knows? I may even get around to using it someday.
When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com. Equal housing opportunity. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Miss Kim will take your call, and as is often the case, toward the end of the program, the phone banks get slammed. So if you have a question or you're just not quite sure, you might want to get in now, and you don't have to be on the air immediately. But the number to call is 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. Miss Kim will put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. Maybe you have had a local shop in your area that's done you quite well this week, or maybe you've got a challenge with your automobile. You're not sure whether you want to spend X amount of money and fix the car, and if so, what you fix will be okay, but what about the rest of the car? And that's happened to us and our customers because we're in the automotive service and repair business. So we repair or replace the front struts on a car. A week later or a month, I'm not sure of the time, but shortly thereafter, the rears go away, and the car's just sitting in the garage, and poof, and all of a sudden an airbag blows out. And so those are the kind of things now the owner's facing a bill. She just paid the same bill, but it was for the front of the car. And we elected not to do the rear because only one of the fronts, of course you do those in pairs. We elected not to do the rears because at the time they inspected okay. I mean, maybe a little dry rot, but if you replaced every piece on an older car, and this is not a mileage factor, it's age. And just for you to know, those of you who drive 6,000 or 7,000 miles a year, age is, we're finding in our experience on the day-to-day, some 50 or 60 hours a week in the Car Clinic Service pre-repair shop, that age is more of a detriment than miles. It still amazes me sometimes at just how rubber parts of an automobile deteriorate. And you say, well, the UV sun. Yeah, the UV rays get to the tires, the dash, the weather strips on the doors. But UV rays don't crawl under your car and get to the bushings and the A-frame bushings and the tie rod end bushings and the sway bar, all those sorts of things that rubber, and rubber is used, it's prevalent in the suspension of your car. Otherwise, you would drive a race car, which is bone jarring. A race car doesn't use rubber. A race car would use in lieu of rubber, which allows a little flexibility so your car can kind of crawl over the roads. A race car uses Teflon type bushings, and as a result, the wheels and alignment are kept precise. Now, it's not comfortable for the driver, but the driver doesn't count anyway. He just is supposed to put the pedal to the metal and go fast. We have calls. I see that they're going to go to the phones, but I promised you tips for buying a car when you don't have perfect credit. So, and this comes from a very interesting source, Lisa Copeland, managing partner of Fiat of Austin, Texas. And why Lisa Copeland? Because Fiat of Austin, Texas is the top Fiat retailer in North America. That includes Canada. I mean, who'd have thunk it? I mean, really? And so I thought everything was big in Texas, but obviously Fiats are big in Fiats are bigger than life in Texas. But here are tips for buying a car when you don't have perfect credit. pre-shop your credit report. Now, I didn't know this. There are many free sites for you to use, such as www.annualcreditreport.com, so that you can make sure you walk into a car dealership as knowledgeable and prepared as possible. That's way cool. Again, annualcreditreport.com. Second, check with your local credit union before the car dealership. If you have a credit score less than 660, many times the local credit unions have more discretionary power than car dealerships and can overlook minor blips on your credit report. Next, and there are four more, stay within your budget. Well, that's hard to do. It's hard for me to do. Don't let the car dealer talk you into a car that's above the maximum budget you set for yourself, as that could be what got you into credit trouble in the first place. Now, that's a human nature trait, folks, and I plead guilty. I've always managed to pay my bills on time, but I have bitten off more than I can chew, and it just means you have to work harder. So I'm trying to figure out how to work smarter. Okay, again, these tips for buying a car when you don't have perfect credit come from Lisa Copeland, managing partner for Fiat of Austin. Save money for a down payment. This is important. 20% down is desired by most banks if your credit is below 620 FICO to receive a fair interest rate. And consider a cosigner, to which at first I totally disagreed. But think about it this way, and here's what she says. Check with relatives before you go car shopping to see if they would be willing to co-sign with you. That could help you in your bargaining power. My thoughts are to ask your parents if you're young and you've never established credit, so you ask your parents to co-sign, but you take full responsibility for paying the note and the payments on monthly, and make sure you pay them not real early, but a couple of days early, but more importantly, consistently and on time. And then here's another, and one of the final two: bring important documents with you to the car dealership. When it's time to discuss financing, the dealership wants to see proof of who you are, that you have a job, and that you have a history of making monthly payments on time. There's what I was speaking to. Bring the most recent pay stub from your employer, like a utility bill, gas, water, power bill, your driver's license, of course, and at least 3 personal references. And last but not least, make timely payments. After you've made, and this is really way cool, after you've made 12 consecutive on-time payments, it's possible to refinance your loan and possibly receive a lower rate, which can start you on your way to a better credit history. We want to thank Lisa Copeland, managing partner of Fiat of Austin, with the top Fiat retailer in North America, which includes Canada, as I said. Lisa, great job. I'm proud to have shared that with folks across the nation here on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And now we're going to take calls from New York. Jeff with a Mercedes. Jeff, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning, Bobby. Listen to you every chance I get.
Great to hear it. Thank you.
You may remember a couple of years ago I called about a problem I was having on a 300 turbo Mercedes, and I said it was getting this unbelievable vibration. We were driving, and I opened the door and told my wife to pull over, and I'd listen out the side of the car, and we'd accelerate and decelerate.
Done that, been there.
And the muffler was shaking in the back, and I ended up, I forgot what I made, a duct tape something or other. Anyway, and I believe that you mentioned something about a tire one time that had a spark plug in it. There was something around. But nonetheless, turns out it was the turbo. The turbo was bad, completely disintegrated bearing in the turbo.
Wow.
And that turbo was banging around in its case and transmitting that all the way to the back. And the only place you could see or catch anything really to look at was the result was in the into the tailpipe.
Now the
tailpipe was moving around 3 to 4 inches side to side.
That is a great story, and folks, the turbo is mounted as closely as possible to the exhaust manifold, so that the turbo, which is driven, it's a turbine driven by the exhaust that forces air into the engine, which forces out more exhaust, which in turn forces more air. So it is the most economical, highest bang for the buck. 17 pounds, 40% increase in horsepower. But I got to say, Jeff, your experience is a first for me. It's really odd, and just goes to show that you take your car in, you said, you go to a doctor and you say, my right lower leg is hurting, and it turned out to be a sciatica nerve between L4 and L5. I mentioned that because I had that problem and still have a little bit ongoing. And you say, well, my back's okay, it doesn't hurt. It's the leg that hurts. Yeah, but it's the nerve that's causing it. And in your case, the nerve of your turbo. And so you replaced the turbo. Let me ask a question. Was it not smoking and feeding oil into that's lubricated those bearings into the engine?
We had just started off on about a 15-hour drive. We were about 2 hours into it, and it started doing that. I said, let's go find a dealer. We pulled in, put it up on a rack, couldn't find anything wrong with it. I drove it with him, and it was intermittent because we weren't getting on the turbo.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, now it's not doing it. Anyway, no, we couldn't really tell anything right away from it, and we just turned around and came home. And so I tinkered around looking all over the car, and I talked with a friend of mine who's a truck driver, and he said, we had a truck that did that one time, Jeff, and it was the turbo. Check the turbo.
That's great to have friends and share information. That's what Car Clinic's all about. Jeff, thank you so much for the follow-up. Got to take a hard break right now, and folks, we'll be back. Don't touch that dial. The relationship with your vehicle is about trust. You trust in your car or truck to get you to work or play. So when your car needs to be repaired, make sure you trust the parts your technician uses to get your vehicle going again. With over 100 years of OE expertise, Delphi has earned your trust. Delphi supplies OE automotive technologies to the world's top 25 vehicle manufacturers. Take fuel systems. Delphi covers 9 out of 10 vehicles on the road and is backed by a lifetime guarantee. Delphi has more than 30 OE proprietary innovations and 150 patents in fuel pump and module design alone. Delphi parts are tested in corrosive, contaminated fuel blends for long life. Some tests will run over 10,000 hours continuously. That's over 1 year nonstop. For over a century, Delphi has had a passion for making the parts that help vehicles worldwide run better, longer, and more efficiently. For more, go to DelphiAutoparts.com. History's full of automotive breakthroughs, like the electric starter in 1911 and analog brakes in 1985. Now, Shell is proud to introduce another automotive breakthrough, Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline, featuring an innovative additive package with patented technology. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline protects against all 3 main types of engine performance threats: gunk, corrosion, and wear. In conventional engines, Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline cleans and protects intake valves and fuel injectors. In modern engines, it works in extremely hot engine temperatures to resist the breakdown of cleaning agents and protect against performance-robbing gunk. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline, proven in industry-standard tests and recommended by BMW M Series. Don't give your engine just any premium gasoline. Choose a breakthrough. Choose Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. Learn more at shell.com/US.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
The airlines like to have sales. Summer getaway sales, holiday sales, winter sales. Truth is, at any moment, some airline somewhere is on sale with low fares to great destinations. Travelocity knows exactly what's going on, who's on sale, to where, and when, at over 700 airlines worldwide. We even have this nifty feature that lets you look at a calendar so that you can see exactly the days the great fares are available. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.
Hun, guess my temperature.
It's 2 a.m. Go to sleep.
Come on, one guess.
98.
Higher.
Higher, 99.
You're getting warmer. Wait, I'm getting warmer.
Cold symptoms keeping you from getting a good night's sleep? Get NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever so you can sleep better to feel better medicine. Use as directed.
One more guess.
100?
Yes. Tell her what she's won, Bob.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back. Okay, thank you, Kevin. So Kevin and I are having a conversation during the break. I mean, which is typical of a talk show host. What do you do during the break? You talk, and we're talking about Shell premium gasoline and the commercial and the production and those sort of things that we do behind the scenes. Was interesting. So finally, he says, "We're coming back live, Bobby." So in other words, get ready. So I am ready, and I'm ready for your calls at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. Let's go to Michigan to Jim, our Car Clinic reporter, with some, I imagine, very interesting information this morning. Jim, welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
It's always a pleasure in my week to be here with you at the end of the week. Let's start off this morning that Jaguar is slashing prices, aggressively moving down market with its current lineup and parking its two new models squarely in an entry luxury spot. In short, Jaguar is no longer content to be a quirky niche car maker favored by collectors and the country club set. It wants its volume, it wants its millennials, and it wants, in a way, to be a BMW.
I find that amazing, Jim. I mean, the first thing, from a humorous standpoint, and I'm in one of those moods, give a kid an inch and take a mile, right? Well, here Jag has done since Tata bought Jag from Ford, they reinvented that car in total, and then now here they are, and they've had fantastic success. But they've always been really luxurious, fast, super priced. And here, what are the two models?
I'm going to have to go with that again as we further transcend into the article, that they're even going to expand the warranty. In a normal perspective, you want to have a more staggered approach, said North American CEO, and I hope I'm close enough to pronounce it correctly, Joachim Eberhardt. But what we're doing is trying to be a place to grab the attention of the marketplace. In a way, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of completely redoing and retooling the brand. Jaguar will reveal its XE sedan, which will have window stickers starting at $34,900, just a bit more than the starting line for the BMW 3 Series, and a touch less than that of the Mercedes C-Class. So they're competing in all ways of competitors that are right in the same market they are with this new approach. So far, the average sticker price on a Jaguar in the U.S. is around $75,000, according to Edmunds.com.
That's really amazes me, and I'm proud to see it. I will say this before we move on to your next topic, and I know you have more. When Ford owned Jag, Ford created the S-Series, which was also a lower-priced vehicle, which turned out to be, quite candidly, a used car nightmare for automotive service shops and owners who had these cars. And I say that because I've worked on many of those automobiles, and I've seen some of the S-Series with as few as, and I'd mentioned rubber bushings earlier in the program today. We had one vehicle in here that I'm not sure how old it was, but let's just say it was an 05 or an 06 model, and it had 8,000 miles on it. And if you drove a car, if you throw a pair of jeans into Clorox and pull them out and toss them out on the floor and leave them overnight, you can look at the jeans and you say, something's really wrong here. Every rubber bushing, Jim, on that car looked as though it had something corrosive because it was cracked and peeling and what have you. It was obviously the type of rubber that was used in the manufacturer, because it includes bushings that don't even wear. These bushings weren't worn out. They were old looking and corroded and deteriorated. And so when Tata bought Jag, that changed. So I'm going to, with caution and with optimism, especially owning one of Tata's cars now, I'm going to look at that car when it comes out, and we won't know for 5 years, really, just how good it is for the buy. Having said that, I will state that the cars that are made today, even the brand new car that you say, well, should I buy the first year out? The answer is absolutely. You'll have the latest thing on the block, and because engines and transmissions, Jag uses German transmissions, so because the engines, the transmissions, and the tool and die making of the vehicle is so state of the art, you really have to try to make a bad car these days. What's next on your agenda?
Okay, before we leave that briefly, I can't resist it. Tata's not saying goodbye to the business, as they said in some films, like Tata Goodbye, but they're going to be around for a long time. Now let's go to the Panasonic Corporation, which makes the lithium batteries for Tesla Motors cars.
Right.
Will begin selling batteries for homes in Europe, starting in Germany, where people are given greater incentives to switch to solar-generated electricity. The push to international markets with home batteries will put the Japanese company into direct competition with the flagship customer Tesla, which in May unveiled a suite of batteries to store electricity for homes and businesses. Tesla Chief Executive Officer Elon Musk has said that Germany is a key market for the product because of the country's advanced consumer solar power market. In America, for me as an individual, I think it's too high price for me to make that kind of an investment in my home. Now, later Panasonic will move on in France and the UK and other markets, and it's said to be a very good idea. In Japan, where the batteries are already available, they can help households replace as much as 70% of energy used by storing generated from solar power panels.
So I have a question for you, and the first question that comes to my mind. I know that Elon Musk or Tesla and Panasonic partnered for a $5 billion gigafactory that's being constructed about 240 miles from Tesla's automotive assembly plant in Nevada. So my question, the plant's not in Nevada, the battery will be. If Panasonic and Tesla are partners in this gigafactory, and there were no less than 5 states that were vying to try to get Tesla to build that factory in their state. Texas was one of them, and yet Texas would not allow Tesla to sell his cars because of the NADA, the National Association of Dealers. But that's another story. But the bottom line, if Tesla's partnered with Panasonic, which they are, and they have been, and now Panasonic is selling these batteries in direct competition with Tesla, I don't understand how that works, and I think that's a story that we should follow to see what happens. Now, if those batteries, I'm trying to put the dots together here. So, Jim, if those batteries that Panasonic will sell abroad are manufactured at the Gigafactory, and Panasonic already has connections there, then I think that's a plus. And then there's one other subtle. I spoke with my general manager, Brendan Beasley, when I heard this news through the wire, and I said, well, what's your take on this? And his take was that Panasonic was an old brand, and it used to be Panasonic televisions and all those sorts of things, and this may be a way for Panasonic to reintroduce and enlighten or upgrade its name in the world of technology. And you know what? I think all that it remains to be seen, but certainly I think that's a plus. How do you take that?
Well, I take that as definitely a plus because everybody has to use batteries for the power of their cars, the power of their homes, and they're getting more of the major market. In this direction, they're going to be the top one, the way it currently stands. And the batteries will, in the near future, give you up to 100% of the power you need stored for your home.
Well, there's
a remarkable achievement.
It is remarkable, and that just means that, as it is with the typical U.S., and this is no flame against us, but synthetic oil that is now becoming a natural. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 50% of all car owners in Europe use synthetic oil. and we produced a national car clinic broadcast from Naples. And the president of the Scudero Corvette Club of Italy was our guest, our host actually, and set the logistics up, and was a tremendous help to me. I asked him point blank, "Do you use synthetic oil?" And he looked at me as though I had this. Well, what a stupid question that is. And he said, "Well, yes, doesn't everyone?" And so, and there was a little bit of a translation gap, and a friend of mine, Carlo Canepa, was there, so he helped me to better communicate with this gentleman. But I got to tell you, we're following those countries, and they're leading the technology. Any more news you have to share?
Yes, I do, Bobby. I would like to talk a little bit today about the new the Toyota car, rather, coming on the market with energy from hydrogen to resupply their batteries for power. One of the big advantages of this car, now it'll be 58,000 until more are produced, the fact is that you can go into your hydrogen service station and fuel your car up in less than 5 minutes for another run of 300 miles. That to me means if somebody wanted to take a vacation, were willing to drive 900 miles in one day, they could do it readily and easily. Mm-hmm. However, there's a catch-22. There are not but 40 stations being offered with the introduction of the car.
Infrastructure, sure, infrastructure, and also, as you know, and we've talked about this previously, you have to have a bulletproof tank. You have to have a stainless steel, carbon fiber, bulletproof tank because you have to have 10,000 psi of pressure so that you can get range. And to that end, Ford Motor Company has had transit buses in Detroit for 15 years that are powered by this hydrogen. So I get it. It's just the fact that that's an infrastructure that's going to be very costly, and the 40 stations that you're talking about, I presume, are on the West Coast from Oregon south.
Right. So if you have that, you don't have the full mass market of people that buy the cars who live in the other regions to get a potential out of it.
Well, we need to find another Tesla, and another Elon Musk, Jim, will handle a lot. You have to give that man credit, and I know that we mention him quite often on this program, but it's like winning the Super Bowl again and again. I mean, when you can do it, you can do it. Hey, thanks for your call. Thanks for your report. It's always great to have you on the program. And with that, we'll take a break. Don't touch that dial. We'll be back. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. With 13.9 billion gallons of domestic ethanol production, America required 485 million fewer barrels of imported oil. When you think about all the reasons to replace foreign fossil fuels with American renewables, consider this quote by Secretary of the Navy Ray Mabus. Secretary Mabus says, "There are great strategic reasons for moving away from fossil fuels. It's costly. Every time the cost of a barrel of oil goes up $1, it costs the U.S. Navy $31 million in extra fuel costs. But it's costly in more ways than just money. For every 50 convoys of gasoline we bring in, we lose a Marine. We lose a Marine killed or wounded. That is too high a price to pay for fuel." I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Waking up can be a chore, but mornings knocking on my front door. Know just what I'll do. Put on a pot of Folgers brew. Mountain grown aroma hits the spot. Helps me give all that I've got. An opportunity to start out smiling and happy. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Good night, Prevotella. Good night, Actinomyces. Good night, Streptococcus.
Germs, millions of them. They've been building up in your mouth all day, and some of them can even lead to the gum disease gingivitis. Say goodnight with Listerine. Just 30 seconds of Listerine before bed kills germs, even germs that can cause gingivitis. Use Listerine every night and go to sleep with a healthier mouth. See your dentist. Use as directed when brushing and flossing aren't enough.
If you're familiar with the Kulseford section of the newspaper, you probably understand this message quite well. You see, in the Kulseford section, everything gets abbreviated. Consonants, vowels, prepositional phrases, the very building blocks of our language are thrown right out the window. And that makes it difficult when you're trying to sell your car. You've got a limited amount of space to work with, and by the time you abbreviate the description of your car down to a couple of fragmented sentences, it sounds less like a car and more like a Bluck sedan with sniffed like new condition lemurs. No wonder more people are selling their cars through eBay Motors. They can post unlimited text and photo descriptions, and with a nationwide marketplace, they're likely to sell it for more. Plus, both parties can be covered by eBay's Vehicle Protection Program. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy, and no one's abbreviating. eBay Motors, a better way to sell your car.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. There are a couple of lines open, so the number's 888 Car Clinic. Should you want to get in, you will have to wait your turn, and there's some patience involved. But when you're on hold, you can listen to and hear the program, so that's the main point. And for those of you who are on hold, I see that John and Terry and Mark are on hold. If you're not hearing the program when you're on hold, let us know, because from time to time we have a cable issue. Not that I think we have this morning, but I want to make sure, because when you are on hold and you hear nothing, you wonder what's up. I'll tell you what's up. 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. I want to tell a brief story about this week's tires, and then I'm going to go to Mark. And so, Mark, you hang in there, and then Terry, and then John. General Tire has become our go-to tire. Number one, I put General Tires on our Camry and just loved them because they're stylish. The RT43, the Ultimax RT43, has emerged to be my personal choice. It's a stylish, touring, all-season tire, and it has a quiet ride. It's comfortable, and it has year-round traction and extended tread life. But there's some specifics about this tire that I know that you can't buy otherwise. And so I want to share just a couple with you so that when you are ready to buy your next tire, whether it's on the Gulf Coast of Florida or you're in Moses Lake, Washington, hello, Victor, if you're listening and tuned in, or you're in California or New York, you can go to GeneralTire.com and look for yourself. The Ultimax RT43 that I mentioned has an early warning visual alignment indicator. That's a VAI. And it's a shallow etching in the tread that will wear away almost immediately within 2,000 miles, and it will tell you, and it's on the outside and the inside tread, not the center, the outside and the inside tread, so you can tell immediately if your car is out of alignment. And you say, well, when I put the tires on, I'm going to have the car aligned. Just because you had it aligned doesn't mean that it's aligned properly. I can say that because the cars change when you drive over bumps and over the highway. So just remember that, the VAI, when you go online to GeneralTire.com, look for the VAI, or just Google General Tire VAI, and I'm sure that'll come up. That extends the life of the tire by visually identifying the vehicle misalignment. There's another really, really cool, it's called PASD. What's that? It's a peak anti-slip design technology that increases the number of biting edges for traction on slippery roads. That's a safety factor that the Ultimax RT43 offers and provides. And then it has an LSA. And I apologize for using all the acronyms, but these are trademarks registered from General Tire. Low surface abrasion technology, which promotes even tread wear and extended tread life. And then, last but not least, the Ultimax RT43 has integrated replacement tire monitor, RTM. That's my favorite. It alerts you when a tire change is needed. How? the center of the tread, it's the coolest thing, the center of the tread has tire replacement monitor, but the wording is etched at different levels so that when you wear it down to 2/32, it leaves replaced tire. Has tire replacement monitor, wipe everything away. You write it out on a piece of paper and you'll see replaced tire. And some engineer must have been up at 2 o'clock in the morning to figure that one out. But you got to love it because that's one. And then finally, the warranty. I think this is, let's put your money where your mouth is. General Tire has done that with a 75,000-mile limited tread wear warranty on all T-rated, 65,000-mile limited tread wear on H and V rated, and a 45-day trial. Now, this is a really step up. Last but not least, if for any reason, excluding conditions that are listed, and you can go to generaltire.com for more, if you're not satisfied with your new set of 4 tires, you may either exchange all or any one tire for a corresponding number of the same tires, or purchase a different set of General Tire brand tires. Tires received as original equipment are not covered under that particular agreement. For more information, go to generaltire.com. I started saying, tell them Bobby Likis sent you, but I don't guess you could say that on your website. So there you have it. That's my take on General Tire. It's a whale of a tire. And Mark, thank you for your patience. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us.
Thanks, Bobby. Hope you're having a good morning.
Thank you. I am. As a matter of fact, it's excellent. You know what's really fun for me, Mark, is that we try these products before I ever get on the air and talk about them. So I know it works well. I know it works fairly well, and I know what doesn't work at all. And and there are pros and cons to every product out there. There's pour and praise, as my good friend Dennis Rosson used to say, who was the director of technology for BG products. He said cars run rough and owners go to the local parts house and they buy Fix-All and they pour it in a tank and they pray it fixes the car. I mean, and this gentleman was like your grandfather. I mean, not that he looked that old, but he was just had that persona, and he could sit in front of a class, and I've been in one of his classes of 50 or 60 people, and you felt a connection to him. When I get to be his age and my hair is white, I want to feel that same connection. But what can I do for you this morning? Thanks for listening.
No problem. Well, I need your advice and maybe helping me make a decision. I'm on a Porsche quest, and I'm in the throes of purchasing a beautiful 2001 911 Turbo.
Okay.
And been negotiating with the gentleman in the car for a couple months, and finally got to the purchase part of the transaction and had it inspected. And the car has a small little oil leak on the engine, and the mechanics think it could be the head gasket, which is a pretty costly repair on that car, about $3,500.
Oh, easy.
And then, but he has a good friend who's a talented mechanic, and he thinks that the leak could be from a valve cover or something above. So maybe I want to get your viewpoint on a car with a small oil leak. It doesn't drip on the floor, and it creates just a small little bead.
Well, we service quite a few Porsches. One of our 3 ASE technicians, and by the way, this week Johnny Bars is now a master ASE certified technician. He actually went to UWF, University of West Florida, where they sequestered him into a classroom. They wand him to make sure he had no iPhones and nothing that he could read. And he had 30 minutes to take a test. He took 6 tests on trucks and aced all 6 tests. Well, I'll take that back. You had to have 16 out of 25 questions right. And he had 20, 22. I mean, he really did well. On one test, he had 16 of 25 right. He said, I was worried about that one, and I went back. But the bottom line, Guy Rayner has also passed his ASE certification with more to come, but he is our Audi Porsche specialist, and we have these cars. The first thing that you do as a buyer with a Highline exotic car, and a Porsche is a Highline exotic car, You
most certainly.
You look at the service records for that car. And
he does have service records.
Because,
He's the third owner.
For instance, our general manager worked in Las Vegas during his career for the Ferrari, Rolls-Royce, and he said, Bobby, if you got a Ferrari with 10,000 miles on it and it's 3 years old, and you can't show where you had it in the shop at the prescribed time, the value of that car would be $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 less, even though it was as beautiful as a car that had 15,000 miles, 5,000 more. The service at the service prescribed time that's the holy grail for exotic cars. So that's the first thing that I would want to review are the records, and possibly at some point in time, whoever was servicing his car might have made note of the oil leak, and you could see when it started, or you can ask this question of him, which is what I would do, of course, because that's at least you can do that. But you can also review his records. Ask him how long that oil leak is there. If it's not dripping, chances are he didn't even know it had an oil leak until you had I presume, a pre-purchase inspection performed.
Yep, and that is the case with the car. They weren't aware of an oil leak, and it seems like a very minor oil leak.
Well,
oil leaks are not good.
Oil leaks are not good. I can only answer that. I can answer it two ways. One, as a professional automotive person. Two, as Bobby Likis, the person. So I'm going to answer it my way. If it's my car and it sweats oil, I want to fix it.
Right.
Because I know that the sweating is the beginning of a leak.
Okay.
So I would opt for the sweat repair. But I'll tell you what I would do. I would spend the time and the money to at least clean the engine, put a few 100 miles, 50 miles, and then recheck it. And if you can clean it, and you could even use dye. We add dye to oil, which has no effect whatsoever, and that's what I would do. That's the most telling, and you have to like going to doctors and getting results. You look at those results. The doctor reads them and then discuss what came about. So my prescription to you and my advice to you, as a car person and as a Porsche owner and a Highline lover, I say that you clean it off, which is easy enough to do.
Sure.
You add dye, which is easy enough to do. You put 50 miles on the car, which is easy enough to do. You go back to the shop, and it doesn't have to have leaked because the dye will show up long before the oil shows up. That makes sense?
Okay. It does.
That's what
the car's. It's a weekend driver, and it's sat for quite a while.
Well, see, if it sits, then that's part of the. It's what year is it? 01?
It's a 2001 with 29,000 miles.
Okay. Well, the mileage is in this case, and I think I mentioned it. I know I mentioned it earlier. In this case, mileage doesn't count. It's the age and it's the seals. But if it's a valve cover, fix it. If it's a head gasket, I just don't think it's a head gasket.
Okay.
Maybe I don't want it to be a head gasket, but anyway,
everyone seems to think that the head gaskets are pretty reliable on those cars.
Well, they are.
It's a valve cover.
They are. So we'll do this. Let's clean it, and then you've got your hairline definition between the valve cover, the cam cover, and the block or the head rather, and so clean it. And that can be done. You can even get to places that you can't because you can spray the cleaner that is non-toxic and will not hurt anything that it hits. It just cleans away the oil. And then add the dye and drive it and see what happens. I'm sure the owner would have no objection whatsoever because rest assured the dye has no effect on the quality or life or operations of the oil.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds great. Well, thank you for taking my call.
It's a good idea. I'm glad you called. Thanks. Have a great weekend and have a great holiday Monday.
Thank you. You too.
You're welcome. We'll take another call. Let's see. Who do we want? Well, we said we're going to Terry in New York, and then we're going to John. Terry, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic from New York.
Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning.
I wanted to get your opinion. I got an idea of my 2000 Chrysler Town and Country. I might be having a problem.
Okay.
It started out with a water leak showing up, dripping off the front.
Mm-hmm.
I put my radiator pressure tester on it, and I noticed that the radiator itself is plastic on the ends.
Yes, sir.
and it had a crack and it was spraying out. So I replaced the radiator with a brand new one. But now I'm still getting an issue when I go uphill. The car overheats. I can drive it all day on the level on the interstate. Never bothers.
When you go uphill, it overheats. What do you mean? Go uphill in town or go uphill?
In the country. I live out in the country.
Out in the country. So you go. So you're talking about an extended hill.
Mile and a half.
Okay, so it's not a city. It's not a city hill. It's a
country.
No,
it don't bother there.
Okay,
They're just knolls in the road.
So
you know?
over a period of hard working the engine or putting the engine through the Stairmaster or a Walkmaster that's difficult, it's not able to handle the extra load that the engine has put on it. Two things I would try. Now let me ask a question. When you replaced the radiator, did you by chance service the cooling system and replace the thermostat?
I didn't replace the thermostat. It's never bothered. Thermostat would overheat at any time. I would, under my opinion, would anyways. I replaced the antifreeze.
Right. Well, I doubt it's
new hoses, new belt.
Yeah, sir. I doubt it's the thermostat, but let me ask this. Okay, here's what I want you to do. If you're in that area, which you live in that area, I want you to duplicate the overheating, which you can do at will, right?
Oh yeah. Anytime I go up a hill, it's when I reach the top of the hill. Mostly after I reach the peak of the hill, then it starts overheating.
Okay. Yeah, because it's worked its way to get up there.
Yeah, and then if I drive for a way, say another mile on the level or downhill, it'll cool back down.
Okay, then here's what I want you to do. When you get a quarter of a mile from the top of the hill and you're watching the gauge and it's creeping up there, and I mean it does creep up. It just doesn't go from normal to up to hot.
No, it takes
all right.
half a mile.
I want you to turn the heater on in the car. Does it have front and rear heater? It's a town and country, so does it have a rear heater? I'll tell you. Terry, you stay right there because I have a couple of questions and as I work through, and when I come back from the break, I'll share those ideas with you and take other calls. Bobby Likis, you'll love us. Don't touch your dial.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Today's new product spotlight is on Denso's Iridium TT spark plugs. Your vehicle spark plugs deliver the electric current needed to ignite the fuel that runs your engine. But not all spark plugs are the same. Denso is proud to introduce the Iridium TT spark plug. Iridium is in the platinum family and is the most corrosion-resistant metal known on Earth, resisting wear and oxidation in the harshest of environments. The TT stands for twin tip. This technology promotes the largest spark energy concentration and explosion possible by shrinking the two electrodes and thus reducing spark interference. The result is better fuel economy, more power, and faster starts, all while reducing carbon emissions. Taking things a step further, Denso developed a proprietary 360-degree laser welding process which creates a high-quality bond that ensures structural support. Denso has a tradition of innovation. Using their OE expertise, Denso products are manufactured to give you the right part and the right fit the first time, every time. Learn more about Denso's Iridium TT spark plugs at densott.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Bob, what's new? Last month I'm in Africa. When this wildebeest charges me, we butt heads and he's history. After I pull my guide from the jaws of an alligator, I dig into some beef jerky. I get heartburn. I take out my Rolaids as I'm fighting off a wild boar. In under 10 seconds it starts working. Then the boar is bye-bye. My heartburn's gone.
Rolaids starts working in under 10 seconds? You expect me to believe that?
It's true. Rolaids starts neutralizing acid in under 10 seconds. ROLAIDS spells relief. Use as directed.
While Johnny Kim was getting ready for the first customers of the day, someone else was looking at larger space for his growing business. At 3 o'clock, while the Curtis family was watching their daughter's soccer game, someone else was walking a prospective tenant through one of their apartment buildings. And while Carmen Delabar was preparing for a fashion show, someone else met with an appraiser about her investment property. You've got a life. We let you live it. We're realtors. Real estate is our life.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour.
Mac.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Count down to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Appreciate your introduction. I want to welcome everyone in. Believe it or not, we have a full bank of, or all but a full bank. I think there's one line open to Car Clinic. So 888 Car Clinic is the number for you to call. If you want to get in this hour, I think you might best dial the number now, 888-227-2546. We're going to go through, and for those of you who have been on hold the longest, I will come to you right away. Again, this show is aired from 10 till noon Eastern Time every Saturday on local AM and or FM stations. Some stations tape delay, but it is truly live from 10 till noon Eastern Time, and also it's live video, full HD at watchbobbylive.com. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Stant Corporation, bringing original equipment expertise to quality aftermarket products like fuel caps, radiator caps, and thermostats. You can find Stant products for your vehicle at stant.com. And this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. Stay ahead of the engine threats like gunk, corrosion, and wear with the new Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline, the best total engine protection you can get. Choose it today. And I'll be back with your calls. Don't touch that dial. Like us, you'll love us. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. American ethanol producers are fully engaged in the race to the next generation. Since the ethanol molecule is identical across sourcing types, many existing ethanol biorefineries are exploring technology upgrades that will enable production of ethanol from a broader range of feedstocks. These bolt-on technologies will allow ethanol producers to increase volumes by converting both grain starch and cellulosic material into fuel at the same facility. Utilizing existing piping, storage, and loading infrastructures at current facilities may help lower the cost for the first commercial production of cellulosic and advanced ethanol. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org.
They're out there. Gunk, corrosion, and wear, relentlessly preying on engines. But new Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline provides unbeatable protection from gunk and corrosion, and superior protection against wear, for the best total engine protection you can get. Stay ahead of engine threats with new Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline today.
Spending more time at the pump, vehicle warm-ups taking longer, maybe time to replace your engine's thermostat. Your engine's ability to reach and maintain proper operating temperature is key to better fuel economy, optimum performance, and lower emissions. Stant's Superstat features heavy-duty springs to return the thermostat to the closed position and prevent cold running, and Superstat's unique design more accurately meters coolant until desired engine temp is reached. For more reasons to choose a Superstat, drive to stant.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Car dealers like playing games. They play percentage points, they play markups, but I don't like playing with my money. So I got my auto loan through LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form, a marketplace of banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. After all, the car buying game is a lot easier to win when you're holding all the cards.
LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at lendingtree.com.
The following is a consumer alert. If you purchased a Philips Halogena light bulb 2 years ago and it is still working, do not panic. A Philips Halogena bulb is guaranteed to last 2 years. Therefore, your light bulb is not possessed and you are not trapped in a time warp.
Philips, light bulbs that last. Guarantee based on 4 hours average daily use. See package for details.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get this show on the road. Remember, from 10 till noon Eastern time every Saturday, you tune in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, and I'm here to help you. Also, you can go to Watch Bobby Live, and I'll wave at the camera because we have HD live streaming on our YouTube channel, courtesy of our connections with Google. So I want to thank Google. I don't know if anyone's ever thanked Google. Yeah, they got a lot of money and those sorts of things, and they're sort of infiltrating everything from automotive to space markets. But I have to say, they've done a fantastic job, and whenever I want to look up something, I just go to Google and it works. So convenience ain't life grand. Before I go to Terry, and Terry, I'm coming to you, I want everyone to know that this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by Delphi. Not just quality parts, Delphi quality parts. Connect with Delphi Auto Parts on Facebook for tech tips and some great auto advice. And now, Terry in New York, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding. Appreciate it.
Bobby?
Yes, sir. You're on the
This
air.
is Jerry.
Hey,
Jerry.
thanks, Terry. I appreciate you holding. I know you've been there a while, man.
Yeah, well, it was with the heating problem, remember?
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, the Chrysler, the TNC that you go up the hill and okay. So here's my plan. I would like for you to use another existing radiator or two radiators in your vehicle to see if indeed it's a airflow radiator heat transfer problem. And by doing this, what you're going to do is you're going to manually turn on the heater.
Right.
And you're going to go to you put the windows down, obviously.
Oh yeah, it's going to be warm.
Yeah, it's going to be warm, but you'll live through it. And so you do that, and you continue. You do this in the middle of your trek. You don't pull over and change anything. You just know that you watch that gauge and you say, okay, it's going to critical mass. It's going to critical mass. And in like one of those movies where you see the nuclear plant where you pull the right plug and you just in time and save the world. I want you to use the heater cores, plural, that one that's in the passenger, the compartment, and the other that's in the back. And there is a heater core in the back.
Right, I know.
Turn the fans on maximum, and you don't need the AC on. You just go to straight heat. And see if that handles the problem, and if it does, then you're almost assured that the core radiator, which is the one under the hood, is not doing its job.
It's brand new. It's
I know, but when I say not doing its job, the next half of the story is we want to make sure the fans are doing their job.
Yeah, the fan runs. I checked the fan.
Okay, doesn't it have dual fans?
It has dual fans, one in the air conditioner.
Okay, and so those fans work. You verified that.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're just, and then there's one last test, and you can write this down. You go to O'Reilly Auto Parts should have this engine block tester. Now, it may sound like this big, huge machine. It's not. But write this down, engine block tester.
Right.
And basically, it's a syringe, like a turkey baster, a big 3-inch, 2-inch syringe, and the kit comes with a blue chemical liquid. It's not toxic, won't hurt you.
I know where you're going.
And what you do is you put X amount according to directions. I don't know, a couple, 3 inches of this blue fluid in the syringe. You get the engine operating at temperature. Here's the cautious part, and you have to remove the radiator cap, because what you want is, like if you're looking down, let's just say the engine is hot and you see water circulating, and of course when you take the cap loose and you turn it to first click, the pressure is going to allow, and you're going to lose coolant.
Right.
So you want to use a heat shield. Yeah. So with care. Now, you do not want to draw any fluid from the cooling system into that syringe. You want to draw the vapors that are coming off the bubbliness or the heat, the hotted water. Okay. So the hot water. So you watch that chemical. If that chemical changes to yellow, then you have exhaust gases in the cooling system, which proves that you have head gasket, cracked head, or those sorts of things. But your engine, and I've got an 01, same engine, your engine is not prone to have such problems.
Yeah, 3.8's a tough engine.
Yeah, 3.8 is a tough engine. I've had 2 of those, and I've still got one. I got 160,000 miles, and everybody in the world's driven it, and it drives like a truck. I've spent a lot of money on rubber bushings and those things, but the age has gotten to mine. Mine. There again, we load it out all the time. So when you've had 200 drivers drive a vehicle, the vehicle is a recipient of a lot of abuse.
I use this heavily too. I use it in my service business.
Do you? What service business are you in, sir?
I have a internet and satellite system installations.
Well, that's very interesting. I'd love to know more about it, just for my own information. I'll put you back on hold. Give Kim. Kim will give you my email address, and send me a message and of what you do. That'd be most interesting. And then again, use the 2 other cores and see if that supplements. And if it does, then you've got a circulation problem, even though you got a new radiator under the hood. You got it?
It's circulating. One just side thing. I'm sure you know this. I do not smell any antifreeze smell in the exhaust.
Oh, you wouldn't. You wouldn't, because you don't have antifreeze in the exhaust. It's the other way around. See?
So you're saying the antifreeze isn't leaking?
No, it's not leaking
into the cylinder. The exhaust is leaking into the.
It is the pressure. It is the pressure that is blowing by with such tremendous combustion into the upper cylinder head past a gasket. You see where I'm going? See, there's a lot of difference in pressures there.
You're absolutely right. Maybe because I opened the hood when it's been hot, and I can hear like air bubbles.
Yeah.
Coming up through the upper hose.
Well,
you'll get that anyways, probably. But
you get a lot of things, and especially when you've got a little symptom, then the mind starts to run away, and then then by the time you get to the end of it, you've done 4 or 5 different. It's like going to the doctor. You do 5 or 6 tests, and at the end of the visits, do you really know what's wrong with you? Unless you have a broken leg and you put it in a cast. I mean, it's a little bit of there's gray, and as a man to man, we surely don't like gray. We won't black. We prefer black and white. Hey, I will put
right
you.
There.
I will ask Kevin to put you back on hold, and you give Kim your email, and she'll give you mine, and then you let me know what you do. And thanks so much for trusting me, and I'll enjoy talking with you, sir. And I look forward to
my pleasure.
When you get to the other side.
I've always liked listening to you.
Thank you, my friend. Okay, now we'll go to John as promised, and then I see the phones are. I got Albert and Doug and Daniel and Mitch. John, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding. John? So sometimes, folks, when you're on hold, you end up, if you're on hold as long as these gentlemen were, having to take a break or coming back to your phone. So what we'll do is we'll put John back on hold, and then he'll obviously come back, and so Kim will get back to him, and so the next in line would be from a standpoint would be Doug. Let's take Doug's call. Doug from Alabama. Doug, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. You're also a patient person, so I'm glad to talk with you this morning. Glad to have you in the house.
Bobby, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I have a 2009 Honda Odyssey. We have 116,000 miles on it.
Okay.
We've replaced all the wheels, put a set of Michelins on it. But from about 50 miles an hour up to 70, when I accelerate, I'm getting a pronounced wobble, and it's gotten worse. We thought it was the tires. We had them rebalanced and rotated several times, but seems it's either from researching. It could be the motor mount. I don't know where to start.
And I like to go with my initial gut inner CV joint. The outer CV joint allows the drive shaft to drive the wheel around corners, which I think is a phenomenal invention. And when you want a hole in the wall, you take the drill and you hold the drill at whatever angle you want the hole. Perpendicular is the norm. But imagine if you wanted a hole in the wall and you turn the drill parallel to the wall, you would just you wouldn't be drilling a hole in the wall. Well, a CV joint like front-wheel drive cars have and independent suspensions, but primarily CV joints allow the wheels to turn and still be driven by the shaft. And I've got one more short point for you. Got a break. Doug, you stay there. The folks, I'll be back. Don't go away. Today's new product spotlight is on Cardone Ultra Premium Calipers. Over 70% of all vehicles released since 2002 feature premium wheels. While stylish, these premium wheels increase brake caliper visibility, and rusty calipers detract from the premium look. Cardone Ultra Premium Calipers feature an exclusive weatherproof silver coating that protects against rust and corrosion. In a side-by-side comparison, set in a humidity chamber simulating a year of average driving, competitors' calipers developed significant rust after 100 hours, but Cardone Ultra Premium calipers still look new. Installation's easy, and Cardone Ultra Premium calipers are packaged with all necessary hardware. Now, through November 30, every Cardone Ultra Premium caliper you purchase gives you a chance to win a Ford Mustang GT, and monthly winners will also be chosen to win a $250 Visa gift card. Register and report each product code at CardoneUltra.com. That's CardoneUltra.com. The relationship with your vehicle is about trust. You trust in your car or truck to get you to work or play. So when your car needs to be repaired, make sure you trust the parts your technician uses to get your vehicle going again. With over 100 years of OE expertise, Delphi has earned your trust. Delphi supplies OE automotive technologies to the world's top 25 vehicle manufacturers. Take ignition systems. Manufacturing more than 23 million ignition coils every year, Delphi uses wire with tolerances that are tighter than standard industry practice to ensure winding consistency. And Delphi's advanced magnetic design and modeling capabilities result in a more efficient coil design, helping deliver optimum engine performance, exhaust emission, and fuel economy. That's better for your car, better for the environment, and better for you. For over a century, Delphi has had a passion for making the parts that help vehicles worldwide run better, longer, and more efficiently. Learn more at DelphiAutoparts.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Commercials are more effective if you use real people. So on the line is Angie McPhee, a Geico Auto Insurance customer who saved over $300. This is not an actor we hired to play Angie McPhee. It's the Angie McPhee. So in your own words, tell us, are you Angie McPhee?
Yes.
There. Unmistakable proof that Geico customers are real and save money. In 15 minutes, you could save 15%. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
Some original thinking by Starbucks barista Frank Botex.
What I love most is getting customers to smile in the morning. Starbucks is just a place to come and relax, to kick your feet back. I mean, it's a second home. Starbucks is now in a grocery store, and what better way to just become your own personal barista at home? You go to the grocery store, pick up some coffee, take it home, let the aroma take over your body.
Your favorite Starbucks coffee. At grocery, at home, at last.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment. Glad you tuned in today. The phones are jumping, and so are we. We're talking with Doug, who has an 09 Honda Odyssey. And Doug, that is a front-wheel drive vehicle, is it not?
It is.
Okay.
And what I didn't share was I can feather the accelerator, and the wobble is not as pronounced, but I can accelerate up the hill, and it gets fairly violent at that
Well,
point.
Well, you did say you did lead me to believe that. So, or I read between the lines. So here's the challenge: the drive line is not under a load, so it can be disjointed, and sort of go along for the ride on decel. But when you excel, just like exercising your arm, you have to use the muscles, and they have to stay in alignment, and like your rotator cuff, which I know a lot about, unfortunately, has to stay in the socket. So I believe that my first inspection would be to check the CV joints. Unfortunately, you cannot check the inner CV joint or the outer one visually unless you see that there's a boot that's broken, and then you replace the assembly with a new one, because if the boot breaks, the grease comes out, but so does the abrasive rain from the highway get in and wears out the joint. On rare occasions, more rare than the outside, the inside CV joint, which doesn't move as much or as it doesn't articulate like the outside, but it still will cause a vibration. So in my heart of hearts, I believe that. And then one test that I want you to try, and this will only test the outer, but it's worth your time. On a Sunday afternoon when the mall is more or less closed, if you can find one that's closed, or in some parking lot somewhere, go out, put the window down, radio air conditioner off so you can hear the wheels and tires. Turn the steering wheel all the way to the left, but don't lock it against the stop, because that makes extra pressure on the pump. You know what I'm saying there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, back off the stop, maybe, 3 fingers, 2 fingers, but let the engine idle and walk the car around at idle speed in a circle, and then to the left, and then back it around in a circle to the left, and do the same thing to the right. What you are in doing is checking range of motion, and if you have a CV joint, even that you don't know is bad, for sure, that CV joint is traveling the full extreme that it was designed. Of course, there's always safety factors in there, so it can travel even more than it's allowed because there are steering stops. But I've always used that methodology to at least test the outer one, and it just may be that same test, because it's moving that outer one to its fullest range of motion, you may hear something go ka-clunk, 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 and because it's a quiet parking lot, and because there's no other ambient noise to speak of, you may be able to hear a noise that normally you would not hear. Any questions?
No, sir. I'll give it a try.
That sounds great. And when you get to the other side, if you need additional information or help, feel free to call me. But when you get to the other side and you find what it actually takes to correct the problem, love for you to call back and share it. We have a lot of folks with Honda Odysseys, and quite candidly, having owned the Town and Country in 97 and then buying an 01, my next van, if I had the need, would have been an Odyssey, because they really done a whale of a job in that market. Hey, thanks again for calling, Doug. Nice talking with you.
Thank you so much.
Now we're going to go to John, and then we're going to go to Mitch, and I see Daniel and Albert. And again, we have lines open at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. Again, that's 227-2546. John, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thanks, Bobby, for having me. It's a car battery 101 question.
Sure.
On my Caravan 03, the battery, I just noticed yesterday, one of the poles is very corroded. And is it okay just to take a steel brush and brush that off, and then I spray something on there to keep it from corroding again?
You have to remove that terminal, which is easy enough to do. You have to remove that terminal to get to the corrosion that is surely between. In other words,
okay.
Yeah, don't paint over or treat over the corrosion on the side of your house. You gotta and you gotta buff it first.
Yeah.
So take it off and properly clean it, put it back together, and then you can spray a battery protectant on it. And we do that all the time, and that's the number one issue with cars. Yeah, it is the number one issue with cars: battery and battery corrosion.
Okay, thank you very much, Bobby.
You're welcome. And by the way, it would pay you, John. You may as well do this on both terminals, and you know that, or you should know that you disconnect always the negative first.
Okay.
And because as you swing the tool, if you disconnected the positive first, it's possible the tool could hit another metal part and short out. And
Yes.
burn you and cause problems. So you disconnect the negative, then you disconnect the positive. You treat them, you put the positive back on, and then you reconnect the negative in that fashion. And I would highly recommend that you buy chemically treated battery post wicks. O'Reilly Auto Parts has these, and I don't know why they make them. I think they make some manufacturers make a negative and a positive. I think that's just a marketing issue. I don't know what they could possibly be different. The problem is leakage of gases through the post in the case. That's what causes the corrosion.
Yes.
And so anyway, I would add the wicks, and then that would solve that problem, period, because the wicks, you still are going to have the same leak that caused the corrosion. You're treating it properly, but you want to stop the gases from reaching up beyond the battery level surface where the terminal comes out. So that's what I would do, and you're done. You're good. You're good to go.
Thank you, Bobby. Sure.
Thank you so much.
That.
Best to you, John. Thanks for holding. We will take another call, and again, we have plenty of time to get your call in at 888-227-2546, South Dakota. We'll talk to Mitch. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Mitch, you're on the air.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi, sir.
Just a quick. I have just recently learned that my truck tires are 8 years old and my car tires are 5 years old.
Okay.
And I did not pay no attention to this. My nephew told me. My question is we only drive out here. My wife and I are retired, and I've got 24,000 miles on the truck tires, as an example, and that's in 8 years. So right. My question is, he says that the tires are not safe. They're hardly even worn. But I guess age, they're not weather checked, they're not split, there's nothing wrong visually that I can see. But is there an age limit that you should run your tires?
Yes,
now, on my truck, I don't do a lot of heavy hauling or anything, but is there an age time where I should consider?
Yes, sir. There is, and here's the age. The industry standard for tire manufacturers, and don't quote me on this, but as I believe all brands, is warranty is 6 years, and that's why when you buy a set of tires at the local tire store, you want to look at the born on date, because you could buy a tire that's on sale that's been in storage on the rack for 2 years, and it
right.
So it's used up 2 years of its life. Not that 2 years on a rack inside a building is a kiss of death. It's not like being on the car with the UV sun. Now, having said that, all tire manufacturers, and this is over the past 5 years, have agreed that 10 years is the maximum safe limit for tires regardless of wear.
I see.
In your case, and I have some personal feedback here too. In your case, you mentioned 8 years.
Yes.
My question, two questions. One question, do you travel at highway speeds, 200 or 300 mile jaunts cross country or whatever in this vehicle?
No.
Well, then your likelihood of a blowout, which could happen with an aged tire, that your son, I think you said, and he's right. The tires aren't safe. They aren't safe to give the vehicle to your wife or your family or you to drive across country. But if you're going from your house to the mailbox, which could be 300 feet or 3 miles down, depending on where you live, out in rural areas, you may be inconvenienced with a flat tire, but you're not going to roll over in a ditch with a flat tire. I just don't see that happening. And so, I while I agree with him, and I agree that there are some safety issues, remember, 10 years is what the manufacturers say is D-Day. Now, having said that, in 1973, I bought a sports coach motorhome that had Michelin tires on it. In 1983, I sold that vehicle with 40,000 miles on it with the same tires that were, for all intents and purposes, as good as new. Granted, it was parked a lot. That's why motorhomes have such low insurance premiums, because they're only driven, they stay in the driveway more than they do on the road.
Yes.
The person that bought that vehicle from me called me, as I remember, and it's been 83, so it's been a while, but a month, 2 months, or could have been a week later, and said, hey, you sold me that motorhome, and I went out and the right rear tire blew out, and a rubber, damaged the side of the vehicle. I just thought you should know, and so there's an example of looks good, wears well, but it was a 10-year-old motorhome, and at that time I wasn't cognizant of the fact you could read the alphanumeric numbers on the inside of the tire. Of course, now the born-on date's on the outside, but I wasn't aware of the tire aging and those sorts of things as I am keenly aware today. So the bottom line is, I had a 10-year-old vehicle, and it could have had, it's a truck chassis that had to wait out in the yard until the sports coach put the box on it, the sports coach motorhome, but it was a truck chassis. So the tires could have been a year old or 2 years old. So I agree with the 10-year rule. You've got a couple of years to go, plus you're a short driver. So I hope that helps you. Got a hard break. Thanks for your call. I'll be back and take your questions. Don't go away. This Tire Maintenance Minute is brought to you by General Tire and the all-new Ultimax RT43, a smarter tire for a smarter driver. Size does matter when considering your vehicle's tires. Though plus sizing may seem like a fun choice to amp up customization, the choice is bigger than what meets the eye. Other factors include load capacity, which must be equal to or greater than the original equipment tire fitment, inflation pressure, which should never be lower than the OE manufacturer's recommendations, rolling circumference. The original rolling circumference should be maintained as closely as possible, and body and chassis clearance. Ensure sufficient clearance under all driving conditions. Drive to GeneralTire.com to learn more about the all-new Ultimax RT43, a smarter tire for a smarter driver. The Ultimax RT43 is designed for a quiet, comfortable ride that includes industry-leading Smart View technologies. Check it out at GeneralTire.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
You can call them used. You can call them previously driven. You can call them anything you want. The point is somebody, maybe even a dozen somebodies, owned the car before you did. And before you put down your hard-earned dollars for the car, you deserve to know exactly where it's been. Get a vehicle history report from Carfax.com. They'll give you the real history of any used car. Visit CARFAX.com or ask your dealer for a Carfax report. Don't buy a used car without Carfax.
I, Dennis Walker, pledge allegiance to the roof. I know it'll be clean. I know it will be comfortable. And I know that if the phone rings when I'm in the shower, I can just let it ring. For I have voicemail. Red Roof Inn, one room, under budget, with free cable and local calls for all.
98% of Red Roof guests are so satisfied with their visit, they plan to come back. Now that's not just loyalty, that's allegiance. For reservations, call 800-RED-ROOF.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags,
And of course, that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing person with a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Now I want to welcome you back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I mentioned earlier about the 10 most wanted vehicles, most stolen. Well, obviously, I guess they're wanted. After the owner, what are you laughing at, Kevin? They're the most wanted by their owners, right?
Right, so they're the most wanted now.
Right, they're the most stolen. And I won't take the time to share that list with you, but I will if I can work that in. But my obligation and what I want to do is to get to the calls right away, because we have some folks that have held and dropped out and had to call back. So for all of those of you who are on hold, I sincerely appreciate your hold. And for all those of you who would like to get in, I can make that happen at 888-227-2546. I do want to share with you something that's very important. I had a gentleman call me last night at 5:05. We closed at 5:30. He's a longtime friend and a customer of mine, and he's driving from his home down. He came home, changed clothes, and was going to go down and hit a few golf balls. And he's a golfer guy, avid. To that end, as he got close to the country club, his brakes locked up. ABS light came on, the car's flashing, pull over, stop, and shut the engine off. And he did, and he called me. And I told him a couple of things, like get out of the car, lock it, say a Hail Mary, and get back in and reboot it and see what happens, and it still wouldn't go. So we called and had it towed in, and sure enough, the rear wheels had grass where they had to pull the car, literally drag it onto the trailer. And so this morning, early on, I got a call from him. I gave him my cell, and he says, I want to share with you a couple of other things that happened so that you'll know Tuesday when you get in, information about the electronics. And then he shared that the top, the sunroof and the windows automatically went down by themselves, and he put it up and what have you. And so the battery had gone out. He said, Bobby, I drove this vehicle to work just fine. I came out and the battery was stone dead. And there's a battery shop right down in front of his, down the shop, and he's well known. Everybody knows him, and so he replaced the battery. So he's giving me this information so that we could hone in on what has caused this problem. But I want to tell you about your next battery because all batteries are not built the same. And I won't say that the power frame grid technology has reinvented the battery, but I will tell you not because my battery ran out in the Smart, but because the Smart car that we drive is an 08 model and has never given a battery problem. I elected to replace the battery with a power frame grid technology battery. I mean, it's ingenious, the design of the power frame positive grid, because it defies convention. More importantly, it delivers optimum performance for your car's battery. And here's how. And then I'm going to go to Daniel with his call. Structurally strong, the power frame patented grid technology is up to 66% more durable and more corrosion resistant than other grid designs. And it's patterned for power. The power frame grid design provides superior cranking power, and get this, with up to 70% better electrical flow than other grid technologies. And in addition to that, what's important for our environment, clean construction. The power frame manufacturing process uses 20% less energy and produces 20% fewer greenhouse gases than other manufacturing methods. And specifically, the power frame manufacturing process, power frame grid technology, is actually formed from a single sheet of precisely rolled and stamped metal. An exact pattern is produced every time using a precise manufacturing process known as, and get this, stamping. Right, just like you stamp a dollar and you print, stamping. You say, well, that's really simple. Right, but book mold design, the old design of batteries, are not nearly as precise. And the patented power frame stamping process enables optimum conductivity and does not fatigue the frame the way other methods do. And so I would share that with you, that on your next battery, and power frame doesn't make batteries. This is what's so cool. Other companies make batteries. So how do you know if you get a power frame battery? You look for the power frame logo on the outside of the battery, and you know you're getting true strength on the inside. Now let's go to Daniel. Daniel, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, and then I'm going to Albert. Thanks for, I understand we dropped, or your call dropped out, so thanks for ringing us back. Glad to have you join us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. What can I do for you?
I've got a 07 Chevy Colorado, 4-cylinder, 5-speed manual.
Okay.
And about 3 weeks to a month and a half ago, I had the pass lock system die on it and locked me out to where it would not start. It had the same symptoms as, a clutch switch going out or a bad starter.
Right.
Had the ignition lock cylinder replaced, had the computers reprogrammed to recognize it, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
A couple days ago, same thing happened again, no start situation. Checked the clutch start switch. Clutch start switch was operating properly, connecting and so on and so forth when I pushed the clutch. Looked on the dash, and sure enough, the lockout security light was on again. I did the Google search on it, and there's 500 people at least out there with the same issue. A lot of people have said it happens over and over and over again. Do you know if there's a way to bypass that system or a recall or anything on it?
I don't know of a recall, and I don't know how to bypass that system because, quite honestly, in the business, we can't bypass systems.
Okay.
I mean, for we're liable. I mean, if I were if you and I were on the side of the road and I knew how to bypass it to get us home, yeah, I would do that. But if you came to me as a shop owner, so that's out of the question. I believe that what you have is a module problem with a security module, and by using a professional scan tool, a technician can verify that the security module is communicating with the body control module or whatever module is used to render the secure or to switch it off and on. And so the fact is that you had this repaired by replacing the key cylinder, and they reprogrammed it. So think about this, and I'll try to make this simplification plausible. You plug a light in the wall and the light doesn't work, so you check the bulb, and the bulb, you can't shake it, but you can't hear it, but you put a new bulb in and it works. And then 2 days later, that same light goes out. And you say, well, it's a brand new bulb that, and you put you put another bulb in it and it works. And you say, this lamp is eating bulbs. Not. What it turned out to be was the wiring or the socket. And this happened to me on my exterior lights that are located on either side of my garage at home. I use, my wife uses decorator light bulbs that are really quite nice, and they're very expensive. And when they one lasted 3 months, I said, there's something wrong here. And so what we found was that it was the socket, it wasn't the bulb at all, although the bulb was what was bleeding, but it wasn't the bulb's fault that it didn't work. So because you programmed that module or had that module programmed to the new key, and because you've got a recurring problem with with a replacement cylinder, I'm going to say it is the unit that you reprogrammed. So what I would do to confirm that, or to at least go to the next step. I mean, you never confirm anything until it's fixed and you drive it 2 weeks or a month and you say, yeah, that got it. I mean, just understand that that's the real facts when you're in the automotive service business. I mean, it's not like you fix a tire that has a hole in it or the wheel has a hole. I mean, there's a lot of electronics that go on, a lot of things that happen. So I would go back to, do you have access to the same company or individual that programmed it and installed the new piece?
Yes, sir.
I would go back and reprogram it just like it happened. Just like it happened. Don't go through the parts replacement, but do go through the steps. And if that solves it, but it doesn't stick, if it happens again, then the piece that you're reprogramming, which is that security module, has an internal problem. That's what makes the most sense to me, given my 44 years in automotive service.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thanks for calling back, Daniel. Let us know when you get to the other side of your electronic phantom issue.
I'll let you know as soon as I solve the gremlin.
Sounds good. Thanks. Okay, we're going to take a call from Albert. Albert, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you in the house.
Yeah, Bobby. I've called you before, but this one's a stumper on me. I took we got a Ford Escort, and it had a valve cover leak, which is what led me to this. I took my truck in, Nissan Frontier 4-door crew cab, 2007. Took it in and had the oil replaced because I was going to go home and visit my mom, 700-mile trip.
Okay.
I started out, I gassed it up one time. When I stopped to gas it up the second time, I think, well, I better check the oil. I checked the oil, and it don't even show on the stick. It takes 5.5 quarts. Running smooth. So
wait.
Oil in it.
All right, stop right there. Albert, you had fresh oil in it before you left on the trip.
Yeah, royal purple.
Had you checked it yourself before you left on the trip?
Yes, it was full.
Okay.
I just got the
okay.
oil replaced.
Okay, I'm just trying to set the basic foundation here. Okay, please proceed.
So anyways, I kept filling it up, and I thought, well, because I had the problem in the car with the valve cover, I thought, well, the valve cover's leaking. I just keep adding oil. Every time I'd stop for gas, I'd add a quart of oil. So when I got back, a couple of days, I didn't do anything, and running around Pensacola here, and I checked the oil, and it's down below the dipstick again. So I put a couple quarts of oil in. I drive it back to the place that changed the oil, and I said, I've got a leak. Will you tell me where it's at?
Sure.
So they drive it up on the thing, and they check it, and they said, well, we don't do repairs on that. But I said, well, just check it and tell me what's going on. They come out from under there, and they said, well, whoever changed the oil did not tighten the plug back up, and that's the reason it's leaking.
Okay.
It had a retainer on it, or otherwise it would have just fell out. I said, well, you guys were the ones that changed the oil, so they went in and checked, and sure enough, they admitted that they did it.
Wow.
They filled it back up with oil. So I've been driving it around for about 2 weeks, just around town, and it's down about 2.5 quarts. But yet I don't see no smoking. I don't see no problem with it, other than the fact that that's what happened to it.
Well,
and twice below the total mark.
I hear what you're saying, and quite candidly, did you happen to look under the vehicle when it was being inspected and the leaking oil plug was found?
No, I didn't look under it.
Okay, then here's what I want you to do, and you can. I mean, it's a Frontier. You got room enough to get under there, or are you a big guy?
I'm a big guy, but I've got ramps and everything.
Okay.
I'm 68 years old.
Well,
so
I don't know. You know, sometimes
yet.
you're talking to a 300-pound guy, and you got 8 inches of room clearance, and you're going to crawl under the. So here's what I want you to do. Think about ring around the collar. And that happens to all of us because you look at a shirt, and every time you wash a shirt or send it out to a dry clean, it shortens the life of the clothes. I've ruined more clothes having them cleaned. I got to learn that I can wear the same shirt twice without cleaning it. That's just a quirk, all right? Now, having said that, if an engine is leaking oil or a transmission or a power steering, and you're driving down the road, which obviously you are, that leak will blow back. And you will not only get a trail of oil on all of the suspension, you'll actually get it billowing up on the tailgate of the vehicle. So you should be able, first, easiest, walk around to the, unless you've washed the vehicle, walk around to the back of the tailgate and run your finger across it like you were going to write "wash me" on somebody's car, and look at and see if you have oil. Put it on the wraps that you have at home and see how much oil, because I can tell you, if you had a plug that was loose enough, see, there's no pressure in the pan. There's a PCV system, so even if the plug is loose, it will drip, 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 drip. But you gotta have a lot of drips to lose 2.5 quarts of oil. So,
well, actually, the first time over a tank, over 2 tanks of gas, I lost at least 4 quarts of oil. Well, I think 1.5 quarts doesn't show on the dipstick.
Well, okay. So first things first. Check for evidence of oil that's blown back, and if you've got a bunch of oil that's blown back, then you know that indeed you had a leak. But you've already gone beyond that because you had it secured and fixed, and then now you're still using the oil. The last thing that I can advise you to do is to check the PCV system and pull the hose off. And sometimes they're weird in the way they route those things, but you could have a PCV system that is totally filled with oil and sucking the oil out, and you wouldn't know it because the converter's burning it. Of course, it's damaging. It causes damage. So and that's really all the time that I have. I wish I could have gotten to you a little earlier on. Feel free to ring me back next week, but do check the PCV system this week and see.
I'm going to make them check it because they're the ones that caused the problem as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I hear you. Let me know if I can help, and I'll talk with you soon.
All right, thanks much.
Well, there you have it. That's about the gamut of we've run today on Car Talk. What fun. What fun. I hope you enjoyed it. If you missed it, it's available at watchbobbylive.com. I'll see you next week at same time, same channel. Likis, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Now to the Car Clinic inbox. Carlos in Louisiana writes, Bobby, I'm a big fan of Car Clinic and am a longtime user of the K&N products that you talk about on your show. I often visit online forums and recently saw this statement that left me puzzled. More airflow equals more dirt in your engine. I've had nothing but great experiences with K&N, but wanted your opinion. Carlos, thanks for being a loyal Car Clinic listener and for trusting the advice I give about our sponsors' products. Many disposable air filters rely on the principle of surface loading. Because it's a thin sheet of material, once a hole in the material is plugged with a dirt particle, no air can pass through it. On the other hand, K&N air filters feature depth loading, multiple layers of oil-treated cotton gauze that capture dirt particles in more of a three-dimensional fashion. Using this technique keeps the air flowing without restriction while providing excellent filtration. Learn more about how filters work by visiting the FAQ section at knfilters.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
P. Ricey Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning. Your name is Folgers, my